Hey y'all, so I'm finally bringing you guys a nail tutorial. So in this tutorial you will see how I do, well, they call this style of nails multiple things: pink and white, baby boomer. I call them ombre nails, pink and white. So first, what you see me doing is drilling my client's nails, and I am using a coarse drill bit, paper drill bit, and I'm doing this to remove all the shine away from her nails. And I drill a little bit around her cuticles just to remove any excess skin, but you don't want to drill it too much because you can cut their skin up really bad. And I do it very gently because you don't need to apply a lot of pressure or you will cause damage to your client's nails. So that's this step. First step I always do is drill the nails with the paper drill bit. Next, I'm going to take my nail tips, and I'm using the Eden natural tips. They're a little more straight than the natural nail tips that some people use. I like these better for shaping my square, tapered square, and coffin shape. I'll use these for stiletto too, but I also use the natural nail tips for stiletto. I don't know if you can see on that pinky nail, but how it has like a slight curve to it. So when you're putting your nail tips on, you want to make sure that your nail tip covers the whole tip of the nail from one side to the other. You don't want no excess nail hanging out on the side. So if you have, some people nails don't fit the nail tip perfectly, so what I do in situations like that is I will go with the bigger size. So let's say her pointy finger is neither fits a 6 nor 7. The 6 is too small, the 7 is too big. I will take the 7 and file the sides down to fit her nail. You never want to use a nail tip that's too small. And make sure you're not putting the tip at a high angle. I kind of point mine downward because you don't want the nails to go up, if that makes sense. When I use my glue, I literally put a little dot of glue in the center, and it will spread to each side. You don't need a lot of glue because if you put too much glue, then it's going to get on your client's skin. So I put like a little bit of glue in the center. Sometimes I'll just squeeze it and put a little dot, and then I'll use the applicator to spread it across. But it just depends, you know. Once you learn and get in a groove of it, you'll just switch it up. So sometimes I put a dot and let it spread, sometimes I spread it myself. So that's this step. All right, so next is cutting. I cut my nail tips a little different. I like to use a straight edge nail clipper. So that is how I determine the length of my client's nails. The reason I do this is because this ensures that each nail is exactly the same length. So I asked them how long they want their nails. She asked for a medium length, so my medium length is 2 clips, as you can see. So I clip each nail twice. I don't like using those other type of nail clippers. I don't know what they're actually called to cut the nail tips, because sometimes I might cut one nail shorter than the other, then you got to cut the rest of them short. So this just works for me. So I lay down a paper towel. Now I'm shaping. So she wants a coffin shape, not too narrow. Once it goes a little more narrow, I consider that ballerina. So she wants a coffin shaped nail. I'm filing each side in and narrowing it. But when I'm doing it, I'm ensuring that I keep the file as straight as possible so that the sides don't curve. I like for my coffin to be super duper straight. So what I also do is, if you look at my middle finger gripping her nail, I'm pulling back her skin on the right side with my middle finger, and on the left side I use my thumb to pull back her skin. I do this because I want to make sure that I don't cut my client's skin with the filer. And I grip the finger a little tight because when you're filing, you want total control. You don't want their finger moving around loosely, especially filing the tip of the nail, because it will hurt their nail bed, and you can also pop the tip off if you're using a not so good glue. Okay, So now I am taking that same coarse paper drill bit that I used earlier, and I'm just drilling the edge of the nail where it meets this her natural nail bed, and I'm making sure that I drill the edges very good. That's important later on for when I lay my acrylic and I shape my nails, and that way you don't see none of the nail tip, the bare of the nail tip, once I do my shaping later. And you see I got a paper towel laid down. I also take another paper towel and I fold it in half. This is to make sure that my liquid monomer is absorbed really good. And now I'm priming. So when I prime the nails, I just put it on the bare nail bed, and you want to make sure that you don't get the primer on your client's skin, because it's a strong chemical and it can burn their skin, and that does not feel good. So the white acrylic that I'm using today is custom made. I just took some regular white acrylic and I put this pearlescent glitter in it. So when I do my ombre nails, when I lay down my first color of acrylic down, I put it a little above where the nail tip and the natural nail bed meets, and I laid the acrylic down, as you can see in this right here. I lay it down where the nail tip is, and I make sure the acrylic does not run on the sides. So you're going to see me make sure that the acrylic does not run down on the sides, and I make sure I hold the nail downwards so the acrylic runs down and not to the sides. So what I also do is I'm gonna show you on this step. Okay, so here you go. So what I also do is, where at the top, I make sure I blend that acrylic out super thin, going towards the cuticle, not to the cuticle, but when it's going up towards the cuticle. That way when I lay down the natural pink powder, I make sure that it gets cut, the white gets covered good. I hope that makes sense. Let me explain it again on the next nail. So I lay the acrylic down on the nail tip. I hold the finger down so that the acrylic falls down, as you can see. At the same time, I'm wiping the sides. I also blend the acrylic up towards the cuticle as thin as possible so that it can fade and not be a harsh line. That way, when I lay the pink acrylic down, it covers the white perfectly and there's no harsh lines. You can probably see it really good on the thumb. So I laid the acrylic down. Her nail is pointing downward towards the napkin. That way the acrylic and gravity takes over and it naturally falls down. Easy peasy. Once you get the hang of it, guys, ombre nails are so simple. I can do an ombre full set in like 30 minutes, literally, because it's so simple. You just want to make sure that you blend very well, and especially that first color you laid down so that the second color covers it. And this powder is just some plain white acrylic powder. I buy some of my glitter from Michael's, and I custom make powders all the time for my clients. Since it is the holidays, I suggested to her that we do the glitter white powder, because I do ombre nails so much that, you know, sometimes I want to do something new, and I have not used this powder but once since I made it. So I was very excited when she let me use this powder on her, and she ended up loving it. So I'm glad I made that suggestion to her. You want to make sure you wipe the sides of the nails. I feel like it's so important to hold that nail down so that your acrylic falls down. And as you can see, as I'm going, I tap my brush onto the paper towel just to remove any excess liquid so that my brush isn't too liquidy, because when your brush is too liquidy, that means your acrylic is going to be too liquidy, and acrylic is just going to flow and go everywhere. So you have more control when your acrylic isn't too liquidy. You just want it moist a little bit. And I'll make sure that I put all the products that I use in the description bar. I have a lot of people always asking me what kind of brush I use, what kind of monomer, and I'll include it in the description bar for you guys. I never put details down there but my Instagram, but I'll do it this time. So I take that napkin, fold it over to the clean side, and the pink powder that I'm using for this set is called Cover Pink. It's one of my favorite pink powders. It looks good on anybody. So how I blend in my pink powder, I take one ball. I'm going to tell you guys in the next step because you already did it. So, but boom, there it is. Look at that. So the reason you see the camera shaking is because I keep bumping into myself. So I take a ball and I lay it right where that white is and I blend it down. I take another ball and I blend it into the cuticle and I blend it down. I never lay my acrylic right on the cuticle. I normally lay it away from the cuticle and I push into the cuticle area. That way you don't have acrylic on the cuticle. So again, I take the pink, I lay it right on top of the white and I blend it down. And you want to make sure that you blend with a light hand, because if you press down too heavy, you might swipe the pink a little too much. This is my first time doing a voiceover, y'all, so I hope this makes sense the way I'm explaining it. It's so hard watching the video and trying to explain what you're doing, but so that nail, as you can see, I picked up too much pink acrylic, so I didn't one ball it. I just laid it, I didn't do it in a 2-ball method. I just went ahead and laid it down. I would be careful with that if you've never done ombre nails, because you can end up not blending the two colors right. So I prefer this method of laying it on top of the color first and then blending it down, and then taking another ball and pushing it into the cuticle and blending it down. Also, let's say you make a mistake and you use too much pink and it's covering up too much of the white, because I tend to like each nail to look uniformed and be the same amount of pink and white as the other nails. What I do is I will take the white powder and blend it into the pink powder to wipe away the mistake. I'll do a separate video for you guys to show how to fix ombre nails, because you can make a mistake sometimes doing this. So as you can see in the thumb, she bumped it and I have to fix that area, which is a super duper easy fix. She was on her phone. That's why I like for my clients to not be on their phone while I'm doing their nails, because you never know. You think you're being careful, but you never know what kind of mistakes you're going to make, and then that hinders me. So to fix this mistake, all I do, you're going to see me take some white powder. So to fix that mistake, I just take some of the white powder and fill in that area that she bumped. Super duper easy mistake to fix. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cap her nails, and cap is short for encapsulate. I'm going to cap her nails with the clear powder. The reason I do this is so that when I drill her nails, it does not disturb the white nor the pink powder that I laid down, and it still remains that perfect ombre. So I don't so when I laid the pink powder down, I laid it perfectly to whereas it rises from the cuticle, and I built the apex up a little bit. So when I lay the clear powder down, I don't push it up towards the cuticle, because we already have enough pink acrylic there. You're going to see me lay it in the middle of the nail where the pink and the white meet, just so I can drill that area. I purposely do my nails like that. I don't know why. It's just my method and it works for me. I've seen people lay their pink just enough to cover the white and then encap the whole thing with clear, but I go ahead and build my apex up and build my cuticle base up. So now you see me just apply the clear powder right below the cuticle where the pink and the white meet. Shaping again. So this process is the same thing. I'm making sure I pull her skin back with my middle finger and my thumb finger, and I'm keeping my file super duper straight. The only step you see me do different here is that I'm filing the tip of the nail so it can be flat. And I file the tip very straight so that it can be going straight across. I make sure I hold that filer straight, that way the sides do not curve in. And some people don't like this way of shaping coffin, but I haven't had any of my clients complain, so I continue to do this method. Now I'm so used to doing this, I can't even shape my coffin with the curve on the sides. So you see me lift her hand up just to make sure the tips of her nails are flat, and you see the shaped side and the non-shaped side, and the shaped side is beautiful. So now I'm taking a fine drill bit, and this is a medium-sized drill bit, and I'm drilling her nails. So the same way I pull that skin back when I file her nails, I'd use that same method when I drill the nails. So I use my middle finger to pull the skin back on the right side. That way I can drill around her cuticle without cutting her skin. And you can see I turn it sideways so I can see what I'm doing. Then I use my thumb to pull back the skin on the left side. You want to make sure you grip your client's nails very tight. I'm not going to say very tight, but tight enough to whereas you have control to move the nail, because you don't want that nail moving around loosely with that drill, honey, and you cut your customer. So when I drill the nail, just make sure, I like to drill from side to side, and I'm drilling, and you I don't know if you can see that movement I just made from side to side looking at her nail. I'm just making sure that her nail is perfectly even from one side to the other, and that the acrylic isn't laying higher or the acrylic isn't lumpy. So now I'm just buffing her nails with a medium coarse buffer, and I just buff from side to side. So once I buff my client's nails, I send them to wash their hands, and I make sure I exaggerate. Please dry your hands very well. Sometimes they don't, so when they come back to me, I just end up drying their nails with a paper towel. Really good for them. So what I do at the end of everything, I take my nippers and I cut away any excess skin that we have. That way the cuticles are very, very neat. If I have a client that has horrible cuticles, I give them a little, I call it a mini manicure before, or you can call it a dry manicure. I just push their cuticles back with my cuticle pusher, and I'll cut their skin if need be, but she didn't have bad cuticles. So I'm just taking that paper towel and I'm drying off the water around her cuticles, because she didn't dry her hands off good. So I'm drying the cuticles off that way. I make sure when I do my clear gel top coat that her nail is cured good and there's no gel lifting because there's water residue on the nails. So now I'm just using, this is a D&D bottle, but inside the bottle is Creations brand gel top coat, and I'm gel top coating her nails. So once I top coat the nails, I cure it for 60 seconds. And I only cure it one time. My lamp is from Amazon. It was super cheap. It was like 30 bucks and it works good. So we're going to cure that other hand for 30 seconds and we're done. Once I get done, I apply some cuticle oil around my customer's cuticle. This one that I'm using is pineapple cuticle oil, and I rub it in for them around the sides and at the top, and I kind of push it up onto their nails. And she loved her nails, you guys. She never got ombre nails before. She always comes to me and gets one solid color, and I was like, let's do something different. You always do the same thing. I can do simple for you and it still be popping. So we did a simple popping set. So here's the finished product. So this is what I do to take my clients pictures. I have my sheep fur in the back. I take something so their hands can rest upon it. That way it's not sitting right on top of the fur versus it's like levitated in the air. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.